welcome back everybody. Protobro here, infamous brother Megabro. Going to continue on with the Let's Play of Confederates as a Confederates in Civil War II. As you can see, we're moving up with the partisans here. I'm going to cut off the rail line, and that way just to wreak some havoc, not really for any overall intended purpose. He does have a pretty massive force here still, about 10, probably 11,000 troops, or power rather. We've got 2,300 here, 3,000, and then DH Hills is 22. So getting pretty outnumbered, but whatever. Moving Smith's Corps under PG2 Beauregard into Taylor's West Virginia, otherwise known as Morgantown, and he falls under Beauregard, which can be moving up on the rear. And we've got about 1,000 power force in that. I also got Jeb Stewart here, laying siege. Hopefully, if I can take this, that'll just increase my progress up towards Pittsburgh a lot quicker. So, got Mosby up here tearing up the rail line. Again, he's gonna hopefully take this one. Then the next one will be this one. Again, just to keep him from being able to reinforce Pittsburgh when we do attack it. All right, we're holding down the hatch over here behind the river. He does a big favor by pulling out of Lexington. Not quite sure why he did that, but he's pulling up north, so we're going to attack across the river. Hopefully he does not reinforce this when we attack. He has a 700 power force there. And then another 820 under Heinzelman. A lot of troops. I have the feeling he's moving up towards Claremont, Ohio. So my concern about not attacking here is that he can attack across the Kentucky River into Louisville from across here. If I put some ships there, that'll block his crossing. Although it looks like I need ships in both. So let's put him back in there for now. As much as I want to attack here, let's see what he ends up doing here, actually. Because it's a little questionable, I think, on whether he's going to stay here or not. Man, it's a pretty sizable force, man. It's 1,300 troops, 1,300 power, rather. If I was going across without a pontoon, which I need to get back down here, that could be pretty problematic. So let's hold off and see what happens. He may attack here, but he'll get reinforced by both these guys, hopefully. So let's see what happens. If he ends up going all the way up into Cincinnati, then maybe we'll attack here at Fayette and go from there. Yeah, so reconsidering that, let's hold off. Pulling Johnson's army back a little bit. I'm going to resupply because my pack trains are almost empty. Resupply here. We whacked him pretty good, which I'll show you in a moment. So now he's going that way, and we're going to attack him again, combine my corps back together, and then I can bring Morgan back to the front like he's best used for. Bring cavalry forward so I can get military control of these areas and get myself positioned so that I can perhaps go back on the offensive. Trying to tear up these rail lines. He's got Sheridan here, who's a very good commander, for those of you who know, with an 886 powered force. Not sure where he's going, but he's got a lot of different options available to him. So AP Hill's back on the field. So I'm going to bring Polk's army up here, make that into a corps under AP Hill, and then hold down the front here with Holmes down here. And that way these two can support each other, and then just kind of play it by ear, figure out what's going on. Buell doesn't have much of a force here because Milroy, we kicked the crap out of him last term, if you recall. So I'm not too worried about this force, but I'm definitely worried about that one. And I'm definitely worried about Banks over here. So I've got to figure out what them two are doing. It looks like those are the two major Union forces on the battlefield, though, right now, is Sheridan and Banks. Now, for the battles that happened, so let me show you first over in the far west. We've got the crap kicked out of us. Not a whole lot I can do over here because of the supply issue. It's very frustrating. So I end up losing eastern Arizona. If I'd known he was going to attack that soon, I probably would have burned it. I should have when I had the chance. So I'm kind of left with this ragtag force of troops down here in Texas, and I can't really do a whole lot because I don't have the money to spend on a supply wagon. because it doesn't seem worth it. So not a lot I can do. Hopefully I just hold off as long as I can, inflict as much damage as I can, but got the feeling we're going to end up losing that down there, but whatever. Okay, so we did take this fort here. I don't know what are we doing over here? Let's keep these guys together. What should I do with these guys? Let's hold off here for now. Put them in there. Get them their supply and everything back. So he ended up backing off. So I've got this force here, and then I've got this guy here. So I'm tempted to go take these, just so I have a more, forward advanced position. But then it's like, you know what, now I gotta defend more, so I don't know. I'm gonna hold down here as my far west kind of flank for now. It's got some irregulars here. There isn't much in this. So I'm gonna hold this here. I've got the Cherokee, which I need to bring up to assist over here. Figure out what to do with him next turn. Advancing with him, if I can take this just to distract him, cool. Again, I'm not really taking it for any particular reason. And then sending him back over also to help with the military control over there. So a lot of moving parts right now. I'm going to bring Richard Taylor forward to protect behind this river, because I don't know which way he's going to go. If I were him, I'd go along this rail line here. So let's see what happens there. And then the other battle. So this is the one where I kicked the crap out of Davis. So this is where I took a chance. I split my corps in two, one under Forney and one under Hoke, rather, and then one under Shelby. End up catching Davis. I think because his supplies were super low, supplies hampered, notice that, and his probably ammo's down, fatigue, everything like that. He ended up routing pretty quick, and even though he had more than I did, we ended up winning that battle. So now he's running up this way. So he'll end up regaining cohesion, and unfortunately, a lot of that force there that I was trying to rout, will regain cohesion and gather up with the Union, which sucks. But I guess the positive is at least I have my rear covered now. So whatever. And I think that's about everything that I needed to show you for this turn. Let's see. I don't think there's anything in the comments that's worth looking at. Confederate call for increased food production. The farmers continue to grow cotton. So foreign intervention's up to 23. Again, it's really, really hard to get foreign intervention. Basically, if you get foreign intervention, you pretty much won the game anyways, right? The second national flag, the stainless banner, was officially adopted by the Confederate Congress on May 26, 1863. It had become important to replace the first flag, the Stars and Bars, because of its similarity to the Stars and Stripes. Beauregard actually made this flag in cahoots with, I think, Johnston. And the reason they did that, they noticed in the Battle of Manassas that it was very difficult to identify friend from foe. So having this flag, because of the pronounced red in it, made it a lot easier for Confederates to identify the friend from foe. That's basically the big reason why they did it. So early 62, late 61 was when this flag was actually developed, but it was never actually a prominent part of the Confederate Congress. It was more of a battlefield flag, and that's why it's kind of funny because people think that's the Confederate flag, but no, it's really a battlefield flag, and it was used to identify friend from foe. All right, General Heath we now have, by the way, so he's going to move him up into put him in Beauregard's army. He's not that great. 4-2-1. It's a good strategic, but really, as far as the offense and defense are concerned, not a whole lot of stats there. And ooh, nice 20 pound. Who needs 20? I think, you know what? I really do think that he needs 20 pounders. He's got a lot of our light artillery, but not any 20 pounders. Yeah, so we'll get him a 20 pound. Hopefully that will help a little bit. It wouldn't take much for him to push across here and whack me. So just through sheer force. Let me simulate the turn, get back to you, and we will proceed on forward. So again, here's what's going on. So there should be some good stuff going on in the next Next turn. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I don't feel like I provide you this screen as often as I should. So we're going to start with the scores and objectives here. We're doing pretty well. I mean, we hold most of the objective list here, with the exception of Baltimore, DC, and Tucson. So I'm pretty happy with that, given that it's mid-63. We've still got a lot of game left, so who knows what's going to happen. The Union, as the game goes on, obviously gets stronger. The combat power you can see here, not too bad, even though it is in the red. It's always going to be in the red when you're playing the Confederacy, let's be honest here. But it's not too bad. 100 is a little bit lower than you would typically see for the Union strength over that of the Confederacy. They are getting 44 per turn. They've got 4,000 total on the victory points. We are getting 59 per turn, and we've 5,800. So as long as we keep up that, by January 66, we should have our independence, hopefully. His morale is much higher than I would expect it to be, given the amount of territory that we've conquered over in the West. But again, for any of you who are historians who follow the Civil War, people in both the South and the North could care less what happened in the West. What they were all about was what happened in Virginia, because both capitals were over there, and perhaps that would explain why the Union morale is so high. They've lost 124,000 troops, 124,800 to be specific, and we've taken 52,700 in prisoners. We, on the other hand, have lost 78,800 troops, so we've lost a little bit more than less than half, if that makes sense to you. And I don't know how many prisoners he's taken from us, but it hasn't been that many, so we're doing pretty well so far. All right, so I'm going to start. We ended up in Virginia, so we're going to continue in Virginia. For whatever reason, we did not fight Halleck when we were over here, so I'm orange. I'm hoping to whack him before his reinforcements come in. His reinforcements have to come across the river, and they don't have rail capacity, so I'm hoping to hit him before he falls back. In the meantime, I am going to fall back here because I don't want to get outflanked. I want to hit the Union if I can, and preferably I would be doing it now. But he's got a lot more troops than I do. He's dug in, so on and so forth. So let me see. What is Butler's dig-in entrenchment? Does not say. Yeah, I have no idea what his entrenchment level is there. But I wonder if he's an entirely Army of the Cumberland, Army of the Potomac. There is an opening, perhaps. If I came across over here, I could whack him. Anyways, I'm talking to myself. The problem that I have, and the problem that you're always going to have with the Confederacy, is that you just don't have enough troops. It's too big of a front. As soon as you start making moves northward, the Union can make moves towards Richmond. I definitely do not want to put my main army in between. I don't want the Union to be able to put themselves between me and Richmond. And the way Ageod did the map, it makes it a little bit more difficult to accomplish that. So at least for this turn, we're gonna hold out. We're gonna pull back with Jackson. I'm hoping to whack him though before we pull back, so we'll see what happens there. And we're gonna do that. So I know I talked about potentially moving on DC in 63. If that doesn't happen, I'm definitely gonna do it in 64 because the national morale for the Union to lose the game gets decreased in 64 because of the elections coming up. So that might be a really good chance to hit DC. As you can see, we're nice and firm here. We've got Fort Monroe. We've got a nice little fleet here in Hampton Roads. That means Richmond is not blockaded, which increases our overall money production. I'm pulling Stuart back because he's out of supply. He did not take this place as quickly as I'd hoped. So now with Smith's Corps, I'm hoping to take Taylor's West Virginia, and then I'm also moving Mosby back because he has supply, cutting the rail lines up here, as you can see. My hope is once I take Taylor, we'll move up here, and we'll get hopefully within striking distance of Pittsburgh. We'll see how that goes. Now, with the West is a little bit different, a little bit going on over here. There was a battle up in Dearborn, Indiana, which I'll show you in a moment. And I have decided to pull back a little bit. I don't like pulling back. I never do. I like being aggressive, attack, attack, attack. But the fact of the matter is I don't have enough troops to cover the front that would be created by continually attacking across the western plains here. So what I'm going to do is enter the Army of the Mississippi. I'm going to turtle up behind this river here, up in northern Kentucky. So as you can see, here's the boundaries. I don't have eastern Kentucky altogether in my grasp just yet, because here's Lexington, but I do have everything else. And I'm going to have a 1,600 power force under Hardee, and then probably about 1,000 power force under Johnson over here in was this Louisville? Yeah, Louisville. And we're going to hang out here. I'm going to have Johnson's army under, which is the Army of the Tennessee. I'm going to have him 2 corps here in Vincennes, and then this open area up here, Wego, Indiana, and I'm going to hold here. So I'm going to have a nice little river here, so he's going to have to attack me from the northern part if he wants. As you can see, he's making a push up the middle here, but I'm thinking that if he continues towards Johnson's armies this way, I can bring my corps under Johnson and kind of cut off the supplies. So I'm not too worried about it necessarily. If he just keeps pushing towards Johnson, I can come in and cut him off. I think, holding these 2 points will make it pretty tough for the Union to push me back, and if they do, they're going to have to lose a lot of casualties doing it, all the while losing all these casualties in the north instead of the south. So it's going to leave Tennessee and Mississippi unmolested for the time being. As you can see, Davis's corps is just pretty much not existent anymore. We did a pretty good job cutting him off and then whacking him. He's only got 19 power. He's not going to have anything left by the time he gets out of there. I am going to hold Mosby here just for another turn, deny him supply and so forth, but he is pretty much taken care of. Cutting rail lines up in this area here just to decrease the probability of him actually hitting me. Same thing up here. As you can see, we've torn up all the rail lines. I'm using this river up in here behind the Vermilion River. Probably pronounced it incorrectly, but whatever. As my line of defense, and then obviously Bloomington, Illinois being my northern point of defense. Now, I'm a little concerned about my rear here. So he's got a 1,200 power force under Sheridan. He's got Grant over here, and I thought he had more troops. Yeah, he's just come with a lot of troops out of nowhere on my rear. So I will feel more comfortable with the situation in about 2 turns once I've had a chance to get myself situated and in a defensive position. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Polk, put him in St. Louis. That'll create 1/3 of my army here. I'm going to put another one under AP Hill right in this area right here, directly across from Sheridan, I hope. If Sheridan crosses this river, I'm going to have to reevaluate though. And then I've got Holmes here as my 3rd component of that army over here. So technically it's the Army of the West. Pretty appropriate considering that is my westernmost army. And I'm hoping it'll take up 3 spaces here to provide defense against any kind of Union aggression. And then I have a 4 division here under Taliaferro, who's got about 477 power to respond to any kind of attack on St. Louis or Springfield. Far west, not a whole lot going on. Building up some troops here, but otherwise not much going on in the far west. Alright, so spent all my money on replacement chips this turn. Replacement chits, as the game calls it, as you can see here. Alright, give you a chance to look at that, and then I will move on. Here's the artillery. Alright, and then Colorado, we've got a couple of these places here. We've got the mines here, which is plus $10,000 per turn. I am doing demonstrations here to try and get that. And then with that, that's about all that's going on. So let me give you the battles on here. Okay, blockade, 11 money, 3 war supply, big whoop. Where are the battles? That is not the battle I'm looking for. This is not the battle you were looking for. The major battle, there's only 1 major battle this turn, surprisingly. Here it is. Okay, so this is one of 2 major battles I want to show you. He's down to 4,500 troops. He's now down to 3,000. He's got nothing. We whacked him pretty good. Only one hour or one turn worth of battle because he fled afterwards. So, all right. So here's the one we lost. I don't think. Yeah, we didn't suffer any national morale, which is good. We were already pulling out of here when he attacked us. That's why there's only one round of battle. But as you can see, he's got 20,000 troops up there. So he suffered some pretty considerable casualties considering. Perhaps if I'd stayed there and held my ground, we could have imposed far more significant casualties. I don't know. But he lost 4,500 troops just in that initial round, which is pretty considerable. And that was over here. That was right here. He crossed over and attacked us. So we're going to pull back, and then if he wants to attack us again, cool. But I think we'll be able to inflict some significant casualties. Again, I hope. Anyways, I'm going to simulate the turn. I'll be back. I know I did a lot of talking this aspect. I'm sorry for that. I'll be a little bit more efficient next turn. Alright, because I talked so much last turn, we're not going to talk much this turn. However, I want to highlight a few points. First and foremost, and this is absolutely tragic. I'm super pissed about it. Jeb Stewart died. Yes, that's right. He died. Proof that division commanders can die in this game defending or whatever he was doing up in Wetzel, West Virginia. So he is among the casualties in Wetzel, West Virginia. I confirm that casualty means dead because I looked around. I could not find him anywhere. It was all for, well, okay, so we'll get to that in a second. That's not what we're talking about. Wetzel versus Virginia, here we go. 2,700 troops against 450. I wasn't even trying to take the freaking town at that point. I was going defense. What I should have done was green. And we lost Jeb Stewart. So I'm very upset about that. As you know, he's a phenomenal commander. It's a huge loss for us. And we got nothing out of it. We got out of there, but we didn't get anything out of it. So, whatever. We did take Taylor, West Virginia. So now I'm moving up on Wetzel. I'm trying to get across this river before he has a chance to respond. He does have this general here, but doesn't look like he has any troops just yet. So my goal is to get up here and take Wetzel before he has a chance to respond. I'm moving Mosby back up here to cut that rail line to really make it so that he can't respond from Virginia, which means if he's going to respond from anywhere, it's going to have to be from his western forces, which he doesn't have nearly as many. So we'll see. I don't know. I mean, he's got a pretty good force here, so he could pull back and probably get over here within a turn. So we'll see. I mean, at a minimum, you know what? It's just kind of throwing him off, disrupting his offensive movements and whatnot. Now, we did have a battle here, like I had hoped. And not only did we have a battle, but we had a battle and then we got out of there before he had a chance to bring his forces to bear. So it worked out pretty well. We had 45,000 troops. He had 17. We inflicted some casualties, almost twice as many as his. Wasn't that long of a battle because we were pulling out as we attacked. But as you can see, round 1, we inflicted 63 hits. He got 39. And then round 2, 114 hits, he got 55. He does have some heavy artillery, which is kind of bizarre to have there. But as an illustration, by the way, to see how all artillery works. So I've got artillery division here. I could pack these artilleries into these 3 divisions, but I chose to have a separate division for artillery. And did you hit anybody? Doesn't look like it. Hold on. Let's go to 2. Here we go. All right, so he didn't do anything. Come on, man. Good lord. Do your job, homie. Hits inflicted 6. Okay, maybe he did something. Not as effective as I hoped. I was hoping to use this as an illustration to be like, hey, look, here's divisions of artillery. But typically, divisions of artillery work pretty well. I think this is probably because we're pulling out when we attacked, but inflicted some hits, came back across the river, and now we have 6 entrenchment with 3 divisions of infantry, and then artillery there. So I'm gonna have to build up Stewart's division a little bit more. because his is a little bit on the weak side. So is Ewell. But we'll kind of figure that out. Here's D.H. Hill, 3 divisions. It's been a little bit since I showed you the composition of our Army of the Potomac, or Army of Northern Virginia, as I'd like to call it. So we did get Pender this turn. He's a 4/4/2. I have to figure out how to incorporate him into our military. Then I got 2 cavalry, Army of the Potomac, and then Smith's Corps. I'm moving on up. So I got Rhodes 3/2/2, Humes 3/1/1. What I probably will do, let's get Pender up there. If there are any battles, at least Pender can get a little bit of action. Alright, so beyond that, not a whole lot going on as far as this turn is concerned. He did not attack here. Now, I did notice he's got this division under Sheridan here. I don't know what he has under Grant, but his supply line has to be a bit tenuous because his rail lines are ripped up here, up in the north, and I've got control in his rear. So I'm not as concerned as I originally was with my rear, because I think I have his supply lines pretty bottled up pretty nicely there. So we'll see. Tearing up more rail lines though. Went and spent money on these big units. This is a 200 power unit here in Richmond, Virginia that I'm building. And then this is another relatively robust unit in Georgia that spent most of my money. And then I'm going to spend the rest on light infantry here. Get that up. Okay. Sorry, I hit the thing there. Inflation is 7%. So that's why I have not printed more money, because I'm trying to get my inflation down. And I don't feel like I'm in a situation right now where I need to go crazy on troops just yet. Here are the things that I can build under the Department of War. I'll probably increase rail my next turn, since as you can see, we are in the red. And we're not really moving that big of troops right now. And we're still in the red. So I'm going to build up my rail probably next turn. He is moving a fleet down here towards New Orleans. That's a pretty big flotilla, so there's Gavin's brigade, but I don't see any transports. Interesting. So I don't know. We'll see what's coming up the pipe here. Here's what I've got in New Orleans. Not the strongest force, but it's pretty decent. Hopefully it's enough to fend off whatever he's going to hit me with there. And then down here, I did not provide this info to you last turn. My apologies. Why can't... Here. There we go. I'm trying to take Galveston back. So I don't know where he went. I guess he went in there. 304. Fine, whatever. But I've got him blockaded, under siege. So hopefully I can get that back. That way I don't have to worry about that anymore. I can move those troops elsewhere. And then these guys, I'm going to move, obviously, to the appropriate locations, including... he's already got sharpshooters. We'll see. I don't know. I've got... okay, good. There, I'm bombard. I'll move together front. So with that, I'm going to simulate the turn, and I will be back next episode. This concludes this episode. If you found this even relatively interesting, please like and subscribe. It helps other people find the game. And also, I will be doing a multiplayer upload here very shortly, and simultaneous to this one, since playing human players is much more difficult. As you can see from that game, it is more difficult. I'm playing as a Union. It's very hard. Playing a human player who knows what he's doing, which in that case, I'm fortunate to have that competition. So, thanks guys. Take care and have a wonderful day.